Get on out of that student union again, walk across the quad, climb on into the lecture hall at Salem University. It's a special Days for Dummies. And we have Bryan Datillo with us. Hi, everybody. It's me, Matt.
It's me, Kat.
And it's me, Angela, with Matt and Kat.
And this is the world famous Bryan Datillo. I cannot say
the one,
that.
the only, the man, the myth, the legend.
The legend
You're
himself.
too kind, way too kind. Way too kind.
Listen, Days of Our Lives has been on many countries across the world. That means that many people across the world has seen the face and knows the heart of Lucas Horton. Lucas Horton. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Lucas
Which makes you world famous.
It does. It's cool. It's cool. The best thing about being world famous is overseas residuals.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So you get a check in euros every once in a while.
Oh yeah, that was a good one back in the day. But yeah, I have a lot of. The only award I ever got on my own was from Australia. It was a Boomerang Award for supporting actor. So I'm huge in Australia.
All right. All right.
Yeah, and shout out to Kayla Berry, one of my coolest fans in Australia. Gotta say what's up to Kayla. But yeah, so yeah, it's cool to be known. It's cool that once someone told me that they have to charge their battery for 16 hours to watch Days in Barbados or something. Wow. So they charge their battery for 16 hours to watch Days for an hour, and on a boat, on their fishing boat. Yeah. Oh, wow. So some crazy stories that you've heard.
Oh my gosh. A number of fans put that in perspective, folks. Like the amount of work people are doing to watch Days of Our Lives. You should appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Let me just say that.
Absolutely. Well, being as famous as he is, it means, he can just go to concerts and just get let right in backstage.
Oh yeah. Nobody's ever going to stop him at the door. No, it's so I'm
not
so
at the Day Players event. That's a tough place to get backstage.
The security is very tight. And then Eric Marstoff's sons are built like brick houses, and you gotta get past those guys.
Well,
those guys are Greek gods.
Of course not the Day Players, but I'm talking about like smaller acts like Taylor Swift and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, those are much easier to get backstage to.
Yeah, I probably would have had better luck getting backstage Day Players. But that's all right.
Well, personally, I'm super excited to have you here. We've been watching and enjoying Lucas since we started the Days of Our Lives, Days for Dummies podcast. Mom and I met Lucas while he was in prison. Still, being released. It was, you guys are so far ahead in the shooting schedule. I don't even know if you know what's being aired right now. But you were on this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Doug's funeral.
So you were involved in the Horton house, the Horton scenes. Ciara, I think her name is Ciara. She opened a box. Mm-hmm. There was a diamond necklace on the inside. All of this stuff. I hope it rings a bell. So
box with diamonds in it.
With diamonds in it, yes. That Alice has hidden and could have solved so many problems over the last couple of decades, but she just never mentioned it.
And nobody could open the dang box, but Ciara opened it in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, we had a thing. It might be fingerprint encoded for Ciara only.
Yeah.
So that was our only justification in playing that. I was like, it's totally fingerprint coded. Yeah.
This is some sort of
but
ISA
the technology wasn't around in the 60s when Alice actually.
You don't understand how tech savvy Alice is. She's like those women that help NASA.
Yes. Oh,
she knew
was ahead of her time.
Was connected to the Roswell landing in the 40s. So by the 60s, all that was, run of the mill. Yeah.
Yes.
What a life she led before coming on to Days of Our Lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But all to say, it's been a joy watching what they've had Lucas do over the last year and a half when it comes to his involvement in prison shenanigans, hanging out with Harris a little bit there, all the way to being dressed up like a monk. In hiding or trying to get some sort of dirt on Clyde Weston, in which for me was the moment in which I knew that Lucas Horton could do anything they wanted him to do on this show, whether it is crime, whether it's being the hero, whether it's being the love interest, whether it's being the comedy act. Lucas can do it all.
It's fun being Lucas when they write for him. It is. It's fun. Yeah.
Well, I was about to say, I've watched Lucas all along.
Mm-hmm.
because I've been watching since like my earliest memories are in the 80s, but I remember from 1993. And I got to tell you, you were one of my first adult soap opera actor crushes.
Oh.
I loved Lucas from day one. Loved him and Sammy. Even back then, I was like, I don't want Sammy with Austin. I don't want Lucas with Carrie. I want Sammy and Sammy and Lucas. Yeah. Even back then. And honestly, when he just said that, prison shenanigans, I'm like, honestly, shenanigans is probably the best way to sum up Lucas's entire tenure.
Yes.
Has he ever gotten away with anything?
Well, it used to be Sammy would tell him what to do and he would reluctantly do it and then try to justify it and then say, I told you were going to screw it up and she'd just leave me alone and then we'd have sex.
Right.
So it was a really cool dynamic to play. Right. And I loved working with Allison. I mean, she's so freaking great to work with. And she's so good at adding her own things, but also hanging with me when I add my own things. Because sometimes I ad-lib a little too much because I do try to memorize the dialogue. I swear to God I do. But it's hard for me sometimes. And sometimes you got to make it your own to memorize it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the script watcher's looking at me like, dude, what are you even saying? It's like it's like an episode of Tootsie when he goes off script and they're like, we don't know what he's saying. Just let him go. It's too late to stop him. Because we've already been rolling tape and we're not stopping tape. Right. So Allison would always keep me in line and just if I went too far with something, she'd just be like, shut up. Now do this, and then I would do it, and it was great. And then sometimes she would actually rewrite my lines for me, so I would come to work and she'd be like, "I have the best idea for you. Say this," and I would be like, "Are you sure I could say that? We're changing the line." She's like, "Dude, don't even worry. I've already cleared it with the producers." And I'm like, "Oh, all right. Well, cool. Let's do it." So she was great to work with. It was.
Was she telling you the truth? She really?
Yeah, I mean, she was always tight with the producers, and she was also directing,
wow,
at that point. So she was whatever. I think the thing I like about her is whatever made a better scene, she was willing to do. Mm-hmm. Oh, so whatever was more funny or more fun or more real, she was always like, just do that. Because I would mess around in rehearsal, and then she'd be like, do that on tape, and I'd be like, I don't know. They're not going to like that. And she's like, trust me, it's good. It's good. Just do it. So those were the good days. I kind of had a similar dynamic with Kate a little bit with Lauren Koslow. First started, Deborah Adair really helped me a lot. The first Kate. Yeah. She would work with me because, like I said, I had trouble with the dialogue. So it was a lot of times my scenes would get moved to the end of the day because I couldn't memorize enough. And I would keep messing up. And she was so patient with me, and she taught me all these techniques, learning through transitions and making the lines your own and not being attached to it word for word. Right. So hopefully that came across for good times to watch.
Absolutely. You've always been incredibly entertaining.
It was fun. Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you.
I think Lucas is funny.
He's great.
He's funny when they let him react and they cover it, because a lot of times I'll throw a line and it's not there. And the audio department has booms, and the booms guys are like, dude, we're not doing theater. You have to say what's written. You can't just start with your own line and we don't even know you're going to say that. We have to get a mic on you. Right. So a lot of times it was, it's a very technical game too. So you have to find the thing, but boy, I would piss those audio guys off. They'd be like, "It's not your line," and I'd be like, "I can't shut up. I'm sorry.
I don't know how to turn it off. You don't understand.
Just have one on me anyway." Yeah,
I'm excessive compulsive, ADD, ADHD, OCD. I got every ED ever. So just give me a break and let me act.
Hold on. Did you really just say I have every ED ever? I think he did.
Well, I am Italian. I'm Italian, so it's not that bad.
That'll be the next Lucas storyline. He goes home with a terribly debilitating condition.
The guy has been married 4 times. Never for more than a year.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Lucas has been married 4 times and never more than a year?
Yes.
Did he screw it up every time or no?
I think eventually they just see him out of his lifts and they realize he's not that tall. So they're just like, what am I doing with this guy?
Kind of that morning after thing where you wake up and you're like, oh, that's what you look like.
Right.
Got it.
Except I look great. It's just not the bigger version you saw the night before.
Just looking, scanning the room. Oh, I guess he left.
Now-
Then you're just below eyesight.
I have to know why we haven't gotten the Bryan Datillo, Allison Sweeney Hallmark Christmas movie.
Oh,
Where is that? I don't know.
we got to start
You
writing.
know, it's funny because
Are we just waiting for somebody to write it? Because I'm in. Because you guys would be comedic Hallmark Christmas movie gold.
I think we would. My wife watches a lot of those, so I'm stuck watching a lot of Allison's work, and I think it's great the way they shoot it. You know, it looks. Yeah, I'm stuck watching a lot of her work. Believe me, my wife watches every single one of those. So if I come into the room and I see her, I have to see what she's doing. And it's funny because I see all the guys that play opposite of her, and I'm like, oh, I've been there, buddy. I've been there. I've been there.
He
I
knows
feel your
the
pain.
sting of her hand on his cheek.
You know, Andrew,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like they would need a script. I think all you'd need to do is give them a concept
know,
and then start
just-
rolling.
Right, yeah.
Just make sure the
No
microphone
one
stays on
kisses
Bryan.
her better than I do. I kiss her good.
Ooh.
My wife even says, you kiss Allison Sweeney good. You kiss her better than you even kiss me. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, you know, you're kissing somebody for TV, you know.
Right.
Oh, I've
Like-
been kissing Allison Sweeney since she was 16 years old.
I
It's a
was going to
little
say, you've only been with your wife since, you guys have been married, what, 2011, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
You tell me. I can never remember. I know it's over 10 years.
2011, but
Yeah.
yeah. So you've been kissing Sammy way longer than that.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Gosh, Angela,
sure.
you're a Bryan Datillo just biographer, aren't you?
I told you that I had like he was in my little collage of haughty soap guys.
Did you
And
have a
I'm
poster?
5'1.5", so 5,
Did
you're
you have
fine,
that
you're
poster,
good.
the shirtless poster of the picture that always comes up when you Google the name Bryan Datillo?
Well, here's the thing: is that I wasn't like still in high school. I had already graduated high school, so it was a little weird to have something like that as an adult, and I got married just a couple
No,
years
it's
after
not. No,
that.
it's not.
So
It's not.
No,
weird.
it's not. You should have
well,
one
I
with me
mean,
now.
I'm widowed now, so I should get one now. And that's what I'm going to tell the kids I want.
Wasn't he in that?
I'm
Wasn't
sorry,
he in
I'm so
I need a
Playgirl like
shirtless
2 months
Bryan
ago?
That's
Datillo
right.
poster for Christmas.
That's right. You were just in Playgirl. You just pull out the centerfold. That is Bryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Boy,
just
that-
like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, but that one caught me by surprise. I was like a last minute addition.
Yeah.
And then I like couldn't work out because I had this shoulder injury. And then they were like, well, I thought you were going to work out. And I was like, I'm injured. I can't. And they're like, well, all right. So they just kind of stuck me in the back. But
Yeah, there's an
I
audience for everyone.
I would do it again just because it's just fun to say Playgirl and Bryan Datillo.
Right. Absolutely, right?
But when you were shooting the pictures, was it a good time? Like, was it a party atmosphere? Did they have good catering?
They had really good catering.
Hey.
It was a cool house. I think it was one of the houses they filmed Botched at, or next door to the house they filmed Botched at.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really cool like house in the hills with like you're standing on stilts. That's it, is keeping up the living room, or these poles on the mountain.
Yeah.
That's
So-
scary.
Totally scary. And I was out there and it was a really bad rainstorm. It was like
Oh,
when we
so
had those
that helped
horrible
that
rain-
helped the fear.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
so
no
then
way
they're
this
like,
place is just going to slide off the mountain.
They're like, you're gonna go outside and do some outside stuff. I'm like, why just me? That's weird. Okay. And the rain.
You're like, I'm sorry I didn't work out, okay? Not sure it's a capital punishment worthy trespass.
Oh,
Right. They stuck me outside, which was cool. But it was just pouring rain. It was freezing. It was like 60-mile-an-hour winds.
wow.
They're like, you're doing great. You're doing great. I was like,
But you can't
Yeah.
see me behind all the rain.
Yeah.
oh, you look even better. We can't see a thing. You look great.
Terrible.
So no, it was fun though. Christopher Sean,
Uh-huh.
Rob
Mhm.
Wilson,
Yeah.
Eric Martzoff, Paul Telfer.
Yep.
Who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting somebody?
Oh gosh, I think one other
I
person.
feel like I'm forgetting one person.
I feel
Where's
like it is.
Alex Kyriakis in there?
You said it. You
Yeah,
got
he
Rob
said
Wilson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Big Rob, Big Rob was there. So Rob kind of covered for us all. No one even has to work out if Rob shows up.
It's his abs just spill over onto everybody.
That's right. I stood next to Rob, and all of a sudden, I had these abs that I haven't had in a while. Like, Rob, thank you.
He's got plenty to spare. He's a sharer. That's good.
Yeah. I love that guy. I love that guy.
He's actually from my neck of the woods.
Oh, is he?
He's from Boston, so.
Oh yeah, forget about it.
Oh.
Forget about it.
Yeah, so we were at the Day of Days event. We were at this most recent one, which we have comments on. But we were on the previous one as well, where they had the full press room. The last time they did the full press room. So actually, Bryan, the first time the three of us met was in that press room.
Yes, the three of us had only been online together before last year's Day of Days.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah. So we met you the first time there at the Day of Days event, in which we also got to talk to these people that you were speaking of, like Rob Wilson and Eric Marstolf and all of them. And what a fun bunch of people.
Yep.
Like just to put it plainly, what a fun bunch of people. There is no doubt in my mind that your entire cast of Days of Our Lives just gets along and enjoys the hell out of their days. Oh no, everybody's frozen except for me.
I mean, it's such a blessing to be on a show like that. I mean, no one really has a reason to be, angry if you are fortunate enough to be on a soap opera. That's like,
right. It's steady work for an actor, which is unusual.
Well, it's what it is, and it labels you as being that person, so it's hard to do other things. When you have other auditions, like I've been going on a lot of independent film stuff the last year or two. And I've gotten a couple. I'm about to wrap up one. I have to do voiceovers next week for in post-production. But it's hard.
A Tiffany setting?
Huh?
A Tiffany setting?
A Tiffany setting?
Is that the one that?
Oh, it's it's called Credo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a Western called Credo, and it's about. Yeah, it's.
I think I've seen some photos, some set photos of you in costume. Looking great, by the way. What a goatee.
It was so fun. Oh my God. I went to the costume place and they're like, all right, this is what we picked for you. This is what you're going to wear. And just being on like a set like that with all the old wood and all the old smells. And they did such a good job keeping the set authentic. And the whole independent film is just me and this other guy in a cell. And a lot of dialogue. It's like 50 pages of just nothing but me and him. And it's.
You ad-lib it?
no ad-libbing.
Letter perfect.
He got so mad at me because I was ad-libbing when I was feeding lines, but I wasn't that familiar with how a film worked, where one day you're feeding lines and the next day it's your turn to get all your close-ups. So I had not been used to that dynamic in a long time. So the first day I was totally just making I don't know what I was saying to this guy, and he would look at me like, it's not your line, but I'm going to go with it. He was a great actor, John Bingham, and he was an old theater actor, and he played Socrates. So the whole story is my character tries to talk Socrates out of agreeing to die. So, but it takes place in the Old West in the 1800s. So
interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the dialogue was just very hard to memorize, and you had to have it word for word. And of course, I got to use my "in the heat of the night" Southern accent.
Hey, I love that. Got a sample for us? Give us a line right now. Go, come on.
Be country for a minute.
I mean, I try to pull myself out a little Clyde Weston every once in a while here on the podcast, just to spice things up.
I try to do a Clyde Weston whenever I want to turn my wife on because she thinks he's hot.
Hey, James Reed, I hope you're watching.
Yeah, she's like, I remember him from this movie and that movie and this, and he just looks so great for his age, and he's just so tall, dark, and handsome. And I'm looking at her like, and so then I started trying to talk like him. I would love to take you out in the backyard and have my time with you. I would love to tie you up on that tree and show you just how much I love you. And she was like, you don't even sound like him. Get away, you're creepy. that has not worked for me, but Clyde is a stud. That guy.
Okay. All right.
And he's even taller in real life. You stand next to him like, yeah, you're like, God damn, dude, you're like 6'5". In the boots. And then
Unusual.
when you're in jail, they only give you a denim shirt, jeans, and these horrible Vans that couldn't be more flat-footed. Like I can't get an inch out of my Vans. So when I'm in the Vans, I'm like 2 inches shorter than I normally am because I sneak that lift in a lot when they give me my regular shoes. So I'm yelling at the wardrobe guy. I'm like, "Come on, Richard. There's no lifts in my Vans." He's like, "They don't make lifts for Vans."
Is there a prison-appropriate box I could stand on?
Yeah, but why didn't they just give you a pair of cowboy boots? Make it a little more authentic. You'd have felt better if you'd been in some cowboy boots.
Well, they did dress me up once when I got when you're a hero at days, you get a leather jacket.
Yes.
You're in the leather jacket crew. And God bless Drake Hogston before he died. He showed up with Patch, and I was all of a sudden I looked down and I had a brown leather jacket on, and then like black leathers on, and I was like, "Holy shit, I made it! I'm now a part of the leather crew, and this is where I've always wanted to be." And that didn't last long because then I was in the monk thing after that.
Loved the monk thing.
That was so funny.
Speaking of Patch, Matt, you should tell Bryan what you called Steve.
What? No, I just being new to Days of Our Lives and talking to Stephen Nichols, I offered him the utmost respect by referring to his character as Old Patchy.
Old Patchy? No.
Not enjoying that one. Yes.
No. That's Patch with the harmonica. He was a stud back in the day. I was actually home from school once, my junior year. I'll never forget. And I'm watching Days of Our Lives because my grandmother got me into it when I would go visit her for the summers because that was her show. And I was never allowed to ask questions during the show. She would throw pen.
Talk to you.
Talk during my story. Shut up. I'm like, "Who's that? Be quiet. Well, why did you do that? Shut up." So
no pause button, Grandma? Come on.
Right. Totally. So I don't know. I was home from school sick, and Patch starts playing the harmonica on this window seal thing. And I guess he's just lost Kayla or something happened with Kayla. And all of a sudden, I'm crying. I'm crying watching this. And I'm going, "Holy shit, I want to be this guy when I grow up. Like I want to do what he does. I want to make people cry when they're homesick."
Well,
Did
look at you.
Grandma have a chance to see you as Lucas Horton?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Taped the first 4 years of me on the show on VHS tapes. And she would write how well I did on each tape. So I'd look at the tape and say, "Not bad, improving, but still a little rusty." Like all these acting comments. And I had no idea she was doing it. And when she passed away, I got all the tapes, and I'm looking through these tapes. I'm like, "Boy, you know what? She didn't even really think I was that good."
Right? Your grandmother. Wow, that's harsh.
She's a tough critic because that was her show. And I remember when I got the audition, she said, "You're going to get it." And I was like, "Meme, I don't know. It's going to take 2 or 3 months, 3 or 4 callbacks. I just got my first audition. I'm probably not going to get it." No. You're going to get it. God wouldn't do that to me. God wouldn't put you a chance to be on my story and not put you on. So you're going to get it. So every time I got a call back, I'd call her and say, "I got a call back." And she'd be like, "I told you you're going to get it." I'd say, "But I'll call you later. Bye." Click. Because you don't want to get jinxed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So when I got it, she flipped out. She's, "I told you. It was cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's great.
Days was one of my mother's big ones. And I would call her from school every day at lunch when I was in high school. I'd just call her from the office. And she'd say, "Do you have any tests or anything this afternoon?" I'd go, "No, why?" She goes, "Days is going to be really good today. You want me to call you out so you can come home and watch it?"
No
Probably at
way.
least once a week she'd call me out in the afternoon. Yeah, so I could go home and watch Days. They thought I was a sickly child.
That's up there with people charging their batteries for 16 hours.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays we just get to turn on our peacocks, Everybody whip out your peacock and watch Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
I typically have it on by 6:05 in the morning. That's how I start my day.
I can't tell. I'm the same way. I watch it first thing in the shower. I have it on my phone in the shower, and then I'll watch it again later. But I want every soap to go to streaming. I love that there are no preemptions.
Yep.
It's just there. I love it. I want the rest of them to make the jump because,
Is there any?
To fit the forum pretty good.
I think that it's great
Yeah.
because it lends to binge watching because there's so much of it. It's on 5 days a week. And so if you want to go back to your same streamer for that comfortable show you've been binging, there's always a new days to see. Has there been any changes on your end that you've observed or watched or experienced from going from being broadcast on network to being a streaming exclusive show?
I think the show has a different look.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the show used to have a different feel. Not that it's any worse or better. It's just different.
It's very well lit. It's very bright. Days
very
of Our Lives
bright.
is right now. Yeah.
The color and the lighting is very important. But it's also like there's more depth to it. I think. You know, it used to be 4 cameras, 4 walls in a room, and now there tends to be a little bit more depth in the sets, more different sets.
Yeah, you guys do have a lot of. I mean, we always joke that Peacock backed the money truck up to 4 days.
Yeah.
they put some money, you know, got more sets, expanded wardrobe. It seems a little bit more, and
I think it's always been a really, really well done production, really well done. But it had a backyard feel when it was on network, and now it's more like a not a sellable product, but a more visually pleasing. You know, because the way high def works. I remember when high def came out and everything changed. It was like, holy shit. Now the makeup really has to pay attention because you can't put the makeup on like we used to do in the early 90s.
I remember the first couple years.
I used to wear heavy eyeliner.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I? Am I Adam Ant? Am I?
I remember the first few years of high def. They didn't know what the hell to do with you guys' makeup. It was harsh. It was a hard couple of years.
You could see the wash under our eyes, and then everybody's like, oh.
Yeah, it was.
Nobody wanted a close up then.
Yeah. I remember that so well. Oh my God, I remember that.
It's like, no, that's far enough. No, 3/4 is good.
We're good. Yeah.
No. But now that's changed, and you know, everyone. I think they've adapted, and it's also cool because I know on set the lighting in the makeup room has to match the lighting on set because a lot of times if the lighting's not, so they'll have lighting directors coming into the makeup room to do the lighting to match the set, which I thought was very smart.
Yeah,
very smart.
Yeah,
very smart.
Done in the past.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I never, as audience members and viewers of the show, where we just see the final edited product, I would never have even thought about the steps that y'all would had to have gone through to adjust to HD TV.
Oh yeah, it's yeah.
Even the camera guys complaining like, "This thing does everything for me. I don't need."
Why am I even here? Yeah.
Well, you know, unfortunately, a lot of these guys are losing their jobs. You know, you go to where they do the news, and it's just the anchor person at a desk with 4 robot cameras and someone directing them in a booth.
Yeah.
But so that I think that's not good for the vibe of the show. I think it's good. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I rely on a camera guy. Dude, am I lined up right? Am I in this shot? Am I too far left? Am I upstaging her? Am I the one creating that shadow? You know, am I too close to them? Are you cool with zooming in first and then can I cheat behind you? Like, there's a lot of things you need to ask the camera guy, you know, get away with. So if you don't have someone there, it's like,
I can't move. Must stay right here.
Completely.
Changes the vibe,
It would just change the vibe completely.
Yeah.
There's less souls in the room.
Yeah, I feel like it would take some of the creativity out of the room too, because now you don't have 4 different people kind of putting their own interpretation on the direction, and now you just kind of got one guy with a joystick.
Well, the guy sees it all, and if he gives you a thumbs up, like good take, you know you did something right.
Hey.
Or the camera guy will tip you off and say, they're saying good things about you.
Right.
Oh, that's nice. That always feels. I would imagine that feels good no matter how long you've been doing it.
It does, but it also works the other way where they're like, Bryan, you need to go to your dressing room. You need to hide out for a while.
but you have somebody there to tell you that, and that's the major difference.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah.
Now, what do you think about the fact that after all these years, in this supposedly dying genre, they're starting a new soap?
Ooh.
I think that's great. First thing my wife said was, "Send them your information." I'm like, "Honey, easy."
You know.
My wife is like my biggest manager agent.
Yeah.
She books me. She goes through the breakdowns. She submits me.
Aww.
And I have a manager that I just got now. She does the same thing, but my wife is just like, the audition I had today was because of my wife.
Wow.
And she's really adamant about me getting work. So
she really wants you out of the house.
Please leave the house.
Get out of the house and stop cleaning, you OCD idiot.
Oh, I would never have said that. But yes, I understand.
No, I'm like following her every imprint she makes on the carpet. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, she doesn't.
That would be, yeah.
But when she heard there was a new soap, she was like, "Dude, on this, let's make sure your people know." And
you have to live in it. The one requirement,
excited.
though, is they're requiring everybody on the soap to be a resident of Atlanta. All of the actors have to relocate because I guess they get the tax break.
oh yeah, well,
So there, yeah.
well, that's all right. I'm not selling my house anyway. I gotta live somewhere.
Here.
There you
Days of Our
go.
Lives is calling anyway, you know.
Atlanta is a great place.
That's where I did In the Heat of the Night
All
in
right.
Georgia.
Oh.
Does anybody know what Brian's first credit was?
Does Brian even know what his first credit is?
Oh man. Well, it's out of two things, but yes, it should be not necessarily the news.
Oh. Well, what is
Crazy
it,
Like a
Angela?
Fox.
What is it?
Crazy Like a Fox
Crazy like
is the first one they had you listed at.
And that's not necessarily the news.
No, it was a drama series about a lawyer and his son, and it was like the 80s. It was done back in the 80s.
This was done in the 80s. I think I got my first acting start because, well, I was in two things first. I was in a Disney show called Wish Upon a Star with Byron Allen.
Oh.
The improv when I was like 12 or 13. We did an act, the comedy routine of Byron and Bryan, or Bryan and Byron. And we did this horrible act. He was like, "So you're from a small town?" "Yeah." "How small is it?" "It's so small that one chicken died, the whole zoo had to close down." Ooh, that's small.
That's some
Here
good
you
kid humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a sister. I got a dog for her the other day. Great trade.
Oh God, that is so funny.
So you wanted to be an
one-liner.
actor. You wanted to be an actor or have been an actor pretty much your whole life.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
when I was 11, I would stay over at my friend Alex Turk's house a lot. And his mom was a producer for Moffat Lee Productions, and they did Real People soap. They did comic relief, the big comic relief thing.
Wow.
And they did Real People, I think I said. And Fridays, which was a show like Saturday Night Live on Friday, 80s.
Yep.
And then
I
also
remember it.
and then they also did Not Necessarily the News, which was on HBO.
Okay. Okay.
And that's where I started doing a lot of the work for her, was when they needed a kid, I would just do it. And I got like 20 episodes out of it. And like I would eat Don King margarine and my hair would go up like Don King.
That is really funny.
It was like a lot of like, there was a firing squad that was going to shoot me from Libya, but they had to wait till after I ate. You know, it was like,
You know that Not Necessarily News is not on your IMDb?
is it really? No,
It's not.
We're gonna add it.
I played Elliot in the Drunken Terrestrial, the DT, not the ET, and I brought in a bum off the street in a shopping cart, and I put him in my closet next to my stuffed animals, and they pan across, and there's this drunk old guy in the closet with my stuffed animals, and I had the bull haircut. You know,
This is hilarious.
That is so funny.
Somebody
have to
find this on
these.
YouTube, please. Somebody
Yeah, we're gonna
it.
find these. Yeah, 1986. The first one they have for you is Crazy Like a Fox in 1986.
Oh, I was working hard in 82, 83.
Look at that. We learned that IMDb cannot be
Yes,
trusted.
IMDb is horrible. I know. Yeah.
I think I'm so old school that I had a life before the internet and it doesn't understand that.
Oh,
Yes,
that makes a lot of sense. Okay,
yeah.
that does make sense.
Although IMDb is awful. My daughter is arguing with them. She has one movie credit and she's trying to get them to fix it properly.
Well,
So-
congratulations on your daughter, Angela, with her
Yes,
movie
so-
credit. And congratulations to
But-
your daughter, Bryan,
Yes.
as well, recently getting cast on General Hospital from our understanding.
It was the best. Okay, so my wife submits us for roles, also my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
There was background work on GH that came up for kids, and Delilah got picked.
Okay.
That is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally, the Datillo blood carries on a soap opera.
Yeah.
Right.
She got to work with Kate Manzi, who totally went up to her and was like, "I know your dad," you know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That is so
That
fun.
was cool. And she was in the background just as an extra. But all I did was post it on Instagram, and Soap Opera Digest took off with a story
Yeah.
and
Yep.
ran it as a story, and then quoted me on something that happened 2 years ago because I was asked about it. So then all of a sudden they're like, "Are you trying to create this thing about your daughter?" And I was like, "I didn't do anything but post it on my Instagram."
Right.
Everyone's like, "Dude, you really stirred it up on that one." They think she's got a contract role.
You're like,
They-
I never said that.
Soap Digest said
They
That
contacted
guy have been
GH.
contemplating who she's going to replace.
that.
I've been
contacted-
telling everybody it's just a guest spot, but everybody's like, no, she's the new Avery. I'm like, she's
She's
really
going to be
not,
Donna.
but okay.
She's Donna Corinthos.
She's atmosphere. She's in the background. That's it. And but it's hilarious that they had to call GH and ask, and they're like, "Who are you talking? What are you talking about?"
Right.
So I just great how social media works these days. You know.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Do you know when her episode airs?
I don't know how far GH is ahead.
They're
I don't-
between 3 and 8 weeks, depending on where they are in the dark cycle. But for her, it would have been
Oh, December 23rd it airs.
It's the
December
Christmas
23rd.
story. Who's reading the Christmas story at GH? Your daughter's in the audience for that. That's her scene.
Yes,
maybe.
Look at you, Ma, decoding it.
I think so.
I mean, it
I don't
sounds
know.
right.
You said
I'm
not
going
me.
to message you because I also have a soap opera news website. So I'm going to message you, and I want to do a little interview with your daughter that we can do when her episode airs, if she would
Oh,
like.
wow. She will love that. She will.
Okay.
Nope, that's right up her alley. She's not.
All right.
She's
Well,
not.
since GH got all this attention over your daughter's casting as a background, we're going to find out that this background child now has a name and a family, and
I
she's
know,
actually
right?
the grandchild of Luke Spencer.
All right. Yes.
I love. She kind of has. You know, she kind of has Italian. My wife's Ethiopian, and I'm Italian, so she's dark skinned, dark eyes. I'm thinking Sonny Corinthos kid. Come on, give it a break. Keep it
Well, a
Italian.
lot of people thought she was
Avery's really a twin.
her Sonny's younger daughter, Donna. Yeah.
So Donnie, yeah.
And then Bryan gets a way in through the
Yep.
daughter.
Mhm.
And then I'm really Sonny Corinthos' son who comes back, but then I need, that whole thing. Oh,
all
God.
of that stuff. They just come up with some
Yeah.
sort of contrived soap plot to make it all make sense.
I was going to say,
Anything
Chad
can
doesn't
happen
come
in soap
back,
opera,
then
right?
he could be new Michael.
Oh yeah,
Maurice
look at that.
Bernard, God, I would love to work with that guy.
Mhm.
That would be awesome.
I mean,
You'd have to know P's and Q's working with him. I'd actually have to know my lines working with him.
Oh, well, here's the problem. You're talking about Maurice Bernard?
yeah.
Here's the problem with that. Everybody who works with Mo, all of the actors over on GH, says that he ad-libs and they have to drag him back in. So the two of you would just be a mess.
Perfect.
The two of you would just be...
And the biggest ad-libber of all over there is Ken Schreiner. Nothing he says is on the page.
I think at a certain
Hi.
point you've been on a show for so long that it doesn't matter the lines that you're given anymore. You're just gonna say whatever you want.
Well, you know Lucas better than anybody. You know what with Lucas.
The only one who's ever played him.
Wow.
You know Lucas better than
Well,
anybody.
no, that's not true. There's one time someone played me. I was in a coma, and they didn't want
Oh,
me to be in bandages. And they had a close-up of the dude's eye, and it was green eyes. And I remember thinking, I don't have green eyes. That's not me. That's not the real Lucas.
they didn't want to burn a minimum on you in advantages. Yeah. Well,
That's a lot.
he's not credited, so... But
Right.
you're coming up
No,
on
but-
32 years.
I know.
Wow,
Oh, it's a good run.
It's amazing.
that's fantastic.
I mean, it's not what it used to be. Obviously, it's a couple episodes a year lately, especially this last year. But I mean, just to be, still in the mix is kind of cool. When I first joined, and I think I was let go after my first 3-year contract,
hmm
and then brought back.
Yeah.
gig going, do something else. Cause it became unpredictable. Cause even when you were on contract, they could just take you off. So I can't believe it's been that long. Every time you say that, I'm like 32 years. And Patrick Muldoon used to always tease me. I'll never forget. Bro, dude, you are Lucas. You be playing Lucas until you're 55 years old, bro. You're Lucas. You're not even acting. You are Lucas. And I was like, oh, dude, what a curse. But now that I've been...
Dude, you're only a couple of years away from being 55 years old.
I know. That's what's really tripping me out. And I'm still going to be playing Lucas. So Patrick Muldoon, in his wisdom,
infinite wisdom,
in his ignorance of wisdom, called it. He called.
Well, there are worse things.
There are worse things.
You could have been like, I used to play that role of Lucas before this other guy got him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can't replace Lucas with somebody else. It's just,
can't.
I poured too much of my soul into the role.
Yeah.
I've infected the role, so you can't have anyone else do it. I think that's the ultimate compliment, because I've never had an Emmy. I've never had an Emmy nomination. I've never had any of that. So for me, owning the role and knowing that no one else can do it but me is enough. I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an award in itself. Maybe one that's more valuable than the Emmy.
Yeah, just try to replace him. I dare you. No, I didn't say that.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Planes with messages. Well, they'll be sleeping with an eye open if they tried. Okay. Question. It reminded me, you took a sip of your drink, and it reminds me, I always like to ask actors this one. So you guys have drinks on set, but you're not actually drinking what they're drinking, and everybody has their own things that they like. What do you want in your drink? In your
set drink.
For so long, because Lucas was an alcoholic, they'd have to go out of their way to make sure, oh, he's drinking tea.
Yeah.
But they would never spice up the tea and put sugar in it. It was just nasty tea. And I would always be like, dude, can I have at least a little sugar in my tea? I mean, special order tea guy here. What do you want, lemon in it too? I'm like, no, but dude, it just tastes like crap. I went to my grandma's and she didn't like salt. The tea was natural in a jar from the backyard. And it's like medicine, basically.
Yes, sun tea.
And they're like, no, Lucas has to drink tea. And I'm like, he can't have sugar in his tea? Come on, man.
Right.
But there are people.
You had your own sugar packet in your pocket and taking care of it yourself.
You're right. You're right. A lot of people do have drinks in their dressing room, though. They have full bottle.
Okay.
Joe Mascolo had a full bar.
Well, he would.
And really good scotch.
Yeah,
because sometimes, as a floating actor, you don't really get your own dressing room. So when I would get Joe's room, I would just be in a luxury suite, 2 rooms, big screen TV, full bar.
Joe's like, I marked the bottles. I know how much is in them.
I tried it anyway. I didn't care. He loved
Of course.
But yeah, everyone, has their own little thing. But yeah, you could actually, I didn't know that you could order special things. If you're eating, you can, the day before, you could contact the prop department and say, I want an In-N-Out burger. And they'll get you an In-N-Out
and they'll do it. They just told him this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's been 32 years.
I had to find out through Eric Martzoff. He was like, they got me some orange chicken from Pink Panda or something. I was like, what?
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 They're willing to do that for you?
You've always been able to do this. And there's Allison Sweeney going, I can't believe somebody finally told him and ruined it.
They're doing Grubhub now, and I can't even get a job. And they're bringing in orange chicken.
Oh, God.
Lord.
Oh, man. I have to get on that, writing that Hallmark movie for him and Allison Sweeney.
Oh, yeah. The funny thing about that is a friend of mine, his brother-in-law, is one of the producers at Hallmark. So we're playing golf one day, and my friend Lou goes, Brian, go ahead, tell him who you used to work with? And I'm like, Allison Sweeney. Oh, that's one of our main stars. You know, we love her. Maybe we'll have you on the show. I'm like, I think she kind of outgrew the Sammy Lucas thing. I don't know if she wants to bring that to Hallmark. The guy she has are tall. I'm not that guy, but I always joke with him. He's like, would she say good things about you? And I'd be like, yeah, she would. She would totally say good things about me. I don't know if she thinks I'm that intelligent or good of an actor, but I don't care about that.
She thinks I'm a nice guy. She'd trust me to hold her purse.
Yeah.
Right. She would look at me sometimes after explaining something, and she would just look at me for a long beat and say, "Did you get that?" And I would be like, "Yeah." And she'd be like, "No, you didn't. I could tell you don't understand what I'm saying."
Aw, she knows you.
I think we spent former lives together because she, right off the bat, we had a thing that was weird. Just like she was totally a little sister, but then she became my mother.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And it all happened overnight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
it's a reunion we all want to see. So whether it's on Hallmark or Days of Our Lives, let's do it.
Oh, dude,
well, since I've only been doing it a year and a half, I've never seen Sammy on screen. She hasn't been on in a year and a half. I've been watching. I hear so much about her. To me, Allison Sweeney, the only thing I've seen her was The Biggest Loser. That's where I saw her. I've never seen her on Days of Our Lives because I wasn't watching at the time. I hope she comes on because her fan base is huge.
You're going to see her. She's coming.
Yeah, she's been filming.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Mama Cat doesn't read any spoilers or any articles.
No.
She knows nothing. That's going to be happening.
She watches
until
the show.
it happens or one of us accidentally says it. She doesn't know.
It's just so hard with Days because they're so far ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, like 7 months ahead, I think.
It's so extreme.
I just enjoy the show so much more, no matter what show it is, if I just don't know what's going to happen.
That's true.
I think.
I'm just so attached to spoilers. I have to have them, and they're so vague that it's you don't know exactly what it is going to be anyway. So.
Well, and if you've been watching for a long, long time, you kind of can guess. And more than likely, you're going to be right about 80% of the time. Because you've been watching for so long, you kind of know what the plot beats are.
It's when they pull the rug out from under you that's the good.
Yeah.
When
that's when
you're like, oh my God. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How did you feel when it was you found out it was going to be Lucas that was behind Sammy's kidnapping? Was it of course he did, or
I didn't get that at all. I was so out of left field for this guy. I would never kidnap Sammy. I mean, he just wouldn't. It's so weird. Has he been so? Is he getting the way I justified it was that the character was so desperate to really be with her that he just pulled a page out of what she might do.
Right.
But even that was far,
He's like, Lucas is like, I can't fake a pregnancy, so what can I do?
I could drug her and put her in a room with another guy. Right. Not going to hurt her.
Right. Yeah. And then I'll be her hero and rescue her, and she'll just love me forever.
Yeah,
and no one will ever find out.
Well, when I found out I was doing that, I was like, that's going to be hard to redeem the character for. I'm going to.
Yeah, and lo and behold.
This is a soap opera, though. Yeah, it is going to be. It's like a lot of people are like, oh, how are they ever going to bring this character back? But I mean, honestly, arguably, the most recognized super couple in all of soapdom, most people would say, is Luke and Laura from General Hospital. Like public, outside of the soap.
Of those who are not watching.
They started with him violently raping her.
Woo! Boxcar.
Oh, Sammy and EJ.
Sammy and EJ. Although I prefer Sammy and Lucas. I think they're the super couple and they should be.
But Lucas didn't rape Sammy.
I know. I'm saying EJ did.
Right.
But I mean, I don't look at them as the super couple. Lucas and Sammy are more the super couple than
I think the
Sammy
general audience would agree.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Since I didn't watch at the time, what did Sammy's parents think of Lucas?
They liked him, but he had a trouble with the alcohol and the kind of scheming and lying and he was a spoiled rich kid who would do anything to get ahead at Titan. I kind of liked the corporate Lucas that they had running things in Titan, meetings and stuff. I always thought that was kind of cool how Lucas got such respect from all the heads of the businesses. They were like, oh, he did a great job and he's this great kid and we'll sign the deal and it's all done. And
has Marlena been your psychiatrist ever?
What?
Has Marlena been your psychiatrist ever?
Oh, yeah. She put me under hypnosis.
Yeah, she hypnotized. Yeah.
Of course she did.
I tell you, she has such a talent for that, right?
Yes.
You have to sit across from her. That's it.
Every time I look at her, she puts me under hypnosis.
Absolutely.
There you go.
You know?
Well, I mean, I think by the time Lucas came around, Sammy's parents already knew that any relationship she was in, she was going to be the trouble anyway.
Yes.
I mean, because she'd already at that time tried to sell her baby sister on the black market. So,
known as keeping her in line and good.
Exactly. I mean, honestly,
this is why I want to see Sammy someday on my screen.
Yeah, I think they did like Lucas.
Yeah,
they kind of had pity on him.
Well, he had gone to military school.
Somehow Lucas was the stabilizing force
and
for Sammy.
And of course, he had evil kids as his mother.
He was totally stabilized.
Now,
I was her rock, goddammit.
You were.
And
I mean, she led you astray.
She wanted the guy with all the money, the tall guy with an accent. You can't compete with a tall guy with an accent who has money. That's kind of hard.
That is hard to tell. That is.
Chicks dig that.
Your wife is like, yes, what's James doing?
What is he up to now? Oh my God.
My wife loves it when I'm on a ladder. That's about the only time she really treats me with respect.
Oh my God.
You keep on making
Next we're going to hear that Bryan got hurt in a horrible stilts accident.
Oh
Bryan, you keep on making references to your height, but I've seen you twice and I didn't say, hey, look he's short. I didn't do that.
No, it's just something I always tease myself about. I stop in my heels. No, I'm like 5'8", 5'9". I'm not like super short. I'm not 5'9". Okay, I'm not even 5'8". I'm 5'7 3/4. But I'm basically 5'8". And if I'm in good shoes, I'm 5'9".
Hey, you're taller than Tom Cruise.
And that's all that really matters at the end of the day, right?
And plus, I could beat him up.
Okay, and that also matters.
You're taller than him.
I would take Tom Cruise in a pay-per-view fight. That I would take that challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm only 5'2".
He does do all his own stunts, though. So.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, do you do your own stunts? Like, I would love to.
Of course. Lucas always gets beat up. They're always manhandling Lucas. Mm-hmm. So I make sure to say to the guys, dude, don't be afraid to throw me around. Like, really throw me into the wall if you're supposed to throw me into the wall. If you're supposed to grab me, really grab me. I want you to like do it as hard as you can.
Tear the costume, break the set.
Have you ever been hurt?
The people are like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. The walls fall down. But I always want that real thing. So I kind of like the physicality stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he has been smacked by many a woman.
Oh.
I've punched a lot of guys too. Lucas gets away with a lot of sucker punches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's the way they justify me beating somebody up is I got one in on him and now
that he didn't expect. Yeah.
Right. And Dan has a horrible time with that. Dan's a bad Australian dude, from the outback. He doesn't like that at all. So when we had this scene where I had to hit him, he was like, of course you have to hit me. Why do I have to get hit by Tiny Tim? and I was like, bro, don't take it personally. I hit everybody and it makes you look good. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you look good and I'm the idiot hitting you. That is very unrealistic, Bryan. I would wipe the floor with you.
It's just still so composed about it.
Right.
It must be like watching like Super Punch Out from Super Nintendo with your little Mac just happened to like jump to hit in the face.
That's what sometimes it really is like that. Yeah.
Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
storyline wise. So Bill Horton is Lucas's father.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Because Kate said she wasn't entirely sure. And then they've never fully resolved it, right?
The understanding was that I was a Horton, not this Roberts, and that he was my father, and that I was led into the Horton family, and that was the dynamic. But I don't think it was 100%.
Right, because on screen Kate said that she wasn't 100% sure, but then they never went there. You know, they never like confirmed.
Totally
I'm leading to a question with this.
Okay.
If they were to say, we're delving back into Lucas's parentage, who would you want to be his father?
Oh, John Black.
I was about to say that would be who I wanted to.
Yeah, John Black for sure. I mean, that would be. But with my luck, I would get Teo.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'm all for it. I love remembering having things for John Black.
I am your father. You're my dad. I am your father. Yes, your father.
Rolf.
You do what I say for the rest of your life.
No, it wouldn't be Teo because at least he's rich. It would be Rolf or something.
It would be
the mad
Rolf.
scientist.
Or Clyde. Your wife would love that.
Hey,
You in all kinds of scenes with James Reed.
Come here and sit on my lap, Lucas. I got a story for you.
That's incredibly creepy, but okay.
I'm your real daddy boy.
Oh my goodness gracious! But,
You might have had fathers in the past, but I'm your daddy.
Well, you can collect parents like John Black did throughout his career on the show. Like they just every 5 years he was just part of a different family.
I mean, how could you not want to be Drake Hogison's kid? I mean, come on.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Guy was such a legend. He was such a great, I always used to kind of like imitate his acting and his eyebrows and
the eyebrow.
The way,
I think everybody does at some point wants to do it.
It's the best ever. But then I was actually doing it. He caught me doing it once. And he said, "Come here, kid, come here." Not a bad imitation, I gotta tell you, not a bad. But you know why I talk like this and have trouble hearing? I got hit with a fastball by Lee Smith in the ear, and the batting helmet exploded. I'm running on 60% hearing, so when I really need to hear, I gotta lean in with my good ear. And when people have a lack of hearing, they talk a little lower. So the whole thing was based on this horrible accident that he took a 99-mile-an-hour fastball in the ear, and I'm sitting here making fun of the guy, and he's like, so just be careful. You never know how somebody gets the way they are. Some things happen in life to sidetrack you, kid. You gotta hold your head up high. And I felt so bad, but I was like, dude, he's my idol on set. Like the way he handled the crew, the way he handled his co-stars, the way he carried himself. He was such a family guy. The way he always loved his family, and consummate pro, would always want to rehearse. Like, didn't have a limit on how much you want to rehearse it again. You feel good about it? You want to do it again? Well, sure, Drake, let's run it again. Okay, let's run it again. We only got 5 minutes. Let's run it again. So he was a perfectionist too. And huge baseball fan. Like,
yeah.
Undeniably.
For me, I don't know. I'm a baseball guy. So for me, it was just, I could just pick his.
That was my thing with him too. My dad works for the Red Sox, so I'm a huge baseball person, and I loved. I
mean, stories about Steinbrenner and Greg Reynolds and playing behind Reynolds at third, and then coming up with some of the guys he came up with, and I would just name somebody, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I had a great time with him. It just spent a great time with him doing this," and had a story on everybody. Great guy.
You were talking about how you'd never been nominated for an Emmy. Drake never was either.
It's a sin.
Yeah.
It's a sin. And never got the credit he deserved.
Never.
For dedication to the role and his understanding of the role.
Yeah.
Like, he was big on, when Drake did a scene, he asked a lot of questions before he even taped. What happened here? Where's she coming from? Why am I saying this? A lot of times people just say what they're supposed to say because it's on the page. He would ask, why am I saying this? Don't I already know this? Shouldn't I ask this instead? Do you feel like this is okay if I say this instead of this? And they would always say, no problem, Drake. Great idea. We'll We understand what you're saying. So he had the respect of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I can say from a new viewer perspective, the very first time I saw John Black on screen, he was already that handsome silver fox that we all knew him as at the end. But he was standing there with Patch threatening some younger actor character that was coming through during an Abe storyline, just threatening to rough him up and beat him up and all this sort of stuff. And it was the first time I had ever seen John Black, and I was immediately hooked into this performance, this character, knowing nothing about him. In 5 seconds, I was like, this is the John Black show for me.
Yes.
Yes.
For sure. And it was more captivating in real life. Like the dude just owned the room every time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's really funny is that, I mean, I grew up watching soaps, and I love the character of John, but he wasn't on my wall. He wasn't one of my, like you and, like Billy Warlock, like, he wasn't there. But I met him at Day of Days first, and then at the Emmys a few weeks later. And both times, a moment talking to him, and he took my hand in between both of his and leaned in and was really gracious. And then he gave me the wink.
Yeah.
And I was a puddle on the floor. I was just like, this is the most charming mofo I'd ever met in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a stud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He
that was a lot in that wink.
He really, I mean, and you really were like the only person in the room. It was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah. Matthew and I got to meet him as well and interview him, and it was just, we'll never forget it.
He gave me this look that can only be translated as attaboy. And
Yes.
and I felt so just like I had done so well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. So he was once I was doing this scene and he was watching the monitor on me, and I don't know, I did this scene. I don't know what I was doing. It's like one of those reaction shots at the end after saying a big speech, and it's tight on you at the end. And he comes up to me after, he goes, "You're gonna like that. You're gonna like that when you see that. You were calm. You were centered. You were at peace." And I was like, I said all that in a look. Wow. I didn't know.
Yeah, right? You're like, okay.
Thanks, dude.
All right. Angela, if you got one other question on your list, I think we got time for one more.
Yes, I do. And then, of course, I'm going to be stalking him to get an interview from him and
He's
from his
very
daughter,
responsive
both
on
of them.
Instagram to select people like me.
Yes, I'm very excited. Well, he follows me on Twitter as well.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
but anyway, okay. So, Bryan, Christmas is coming. What are you asking Santa for?
Oh.
Besides a job, let's see.
I was really trying hard not to make an elf joke there, friend.
Yeah. In our house, we don't have an elf on the shelf. It's just me relocating myself every morning. Dad,
what did Dad get into today?
Silly Dad, you're on the
That
window.
is so funny.
No. What do I want for Christmas? I mean, obviously, I want us to be healthy. Thank God my wife's still in remission with her cancer, so that's
Amen.
what I care about. She doesn't have to go through the horrible chemo anymore. But thank God for it. Anyway, I would say for Christmas, I always get socks, so I'm big on socks. Anything alien, I'll take anything alien.
Oh, okay.
Like the movie or just UFO-ish?
UFO-ish.
Okay.
Right.
UFO-ish.
Got to get your wife to start petitioning a Star Trek role for you then.
Yeah.
Bryan Datillo was a Klingon.
That's awesome. I actually auditioned to be a Klingon once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
did you?
No. You know what it was? It wasn't a Klingon. Hold on. It was the electronic people, the robot people,
the Borg.
The Borg.
Ooh.
Yes. I was a good Borg. I was a good Borg.
Was it for Star Trek: The Next Generation?
I got a call back, and it was Next Generation. I was really psyched about it. Because I think that my scene was with LeVar Burton.
Oh my God, you could have played Hugh the Borg. Oh my gosh.
Was that me? Was that who I was?
I mean, yeah, Hugh the Borg.
Yes.
Yes.
That way, and I got 2 callbacks on that, and I wanted that so bad, but I didn't.
When it comes to the actor that they picked, your look is pretty similar to his. So I yeah.
Damn, that guy. Man.
Yeah.
Well, I almost got Never Ending Story too, where the guy
Atreyu?
not Atreyu, the kid who read the
Oh,
book.
Bastion.
Okay, Bastion.
Oh,
It was
Okay.
between me and him. It was like
wow.
Wow.
I almost had that one. And then I was on another Alien. I was almost an Orkin Elder and Morkin Mindy.
Okay.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, wow.
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 The aging process is reversed.
Reversed for
And
them, yeah.
the little kid came in as his
Yeah.
boss. And I had that too. That little kid beat me out because he had glasses and I didn't wear glasses.
Oh,
And then, of course, my big one is 910. My sister and I got Brandon and Brenda.
Mm.
And we signed the deal and everything. And then she went off to do another series. And I had to read with Shannon Doherty. And we had an acting class years prior. And she tried to kiss me once and I pushed her away. So she hated me. And so we did
Wow.
chemistry. And I lost out on 90210 because my sister took a show called Hull High, which lasted 5 episodes.
I mean,
I
at the
hope you
time, you
never
never
let her
know.
forget that.
I mean, it's millions of dollars that woman owes me. So
Yeah.
I was going to say, I would never let one of my siblings forget that in a million years.
Wow.
They would get like 90210 memorabilia for every occasion for the rest of their lives. That would be their gift.
And she's not
Smelly-
lying. Angela would do that. That is right up
Oh, I'm
Angela's
absolutely not
alley.
She
lying.
would.
I have 7 brothers and sisters, and they would pay for the rest of their lives forever.
That one hurt.
Well, I mean, in this timeline, in this reality that we did get to live in, we have you as Lucas Horton, and I don't want a Brandon Walsh as you. I want Lucas Horton.
Yeah.
You know. So
Lucas till I die. I don't
I'm
care.
happy for it. I'm happy for it.
I actually think it's going to be on my gravestone. I'm going to include Lucas on my gravestone. because
Lucas.
think
I mean,
we
it's just become my identity for so long. I mean, I'm Bryan. I know who I am, but this alter thing is just, that's what people don't get about a soap opera is you really give yourself to the role. It becomes you. It's different than other actors.
It's totally different. It's kind of like why it's, the fan relationship is different as well. And probably the on-set relationship, because it's so long running. It's so, much. It's, no repeats, no summer hiatus, no, it's a totally different thing
It's a
than
marathon,
any other.
and you have to be prepared to do it till you die.
Yeah.
And you get to do something creative as well. I mean, it's not unusual to do something for 32 years. But
To do that.
yes.
You're caught in a time loop. It almost like it's time travel because you don't ever graduate to a point after. It's just
Right.
that's who you are, and
Mhm.
it's a loop. And I love it. I mean, the reason why I got into acting is to have a job that lasts. Like the hardest thing about an actor is as soon as you complete a job, you're unemployed. So
Right.
it's scary, and you don't know when the next one comes. And you always have to realize it's not up to you. It's up to other people. It's out of your hands. And all you can do is just keep trying to do it. And I would kill myself if I stopped trying to be an actor.
Mhm.
So many times, you're like, I should just get a regular job and be a mailman or become something else or be a truck driver or work for Amazon or whatever it is. But you realize if you do that, you're saying no.
It's a calling, and you have to be all in.
It's a curse, is what
It's special because you're special. To do, the folks that do this, they're special because the job itself is special.
it's a very special job, and the rewards you have to choose. You have to seek the rewards out because the rewards don't come in awards or money. They come in other forms.
It's responding to the name Lucas every time you walk down the street and somebody recognizes you. That's a reward.
Well, I mean, not only that, you think about this is that,
I hear it more than Bryan.
like, 500 years from now, there are still going to be clips that exist of you as this. When
Yeah.
you and your descendants are,
Mm-hmm.
not everybody can say that.
When they put us in the Smithsonian, that was weird because I went with Bill and Susan and Dee and Greg Ming, and we had a great time. And they put the chair in to the vaults.
Mm-hmm.
This is protected with national treasures.
Right.
And I'm like,
Very cool.
there's a full-time person watching this every day on surveillance? Yes. And no one can come in this room unless they have top clearance? Yes. So it's sealed for life. Yes. Oh wow, that's weird.
Right?
That's wild.
It's yeah.
That's crazy, but it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Gosh. And that's the wonders of working on daytime, working on soaps, being a part of Days of Our Lives. And what's brilliant and wonderful about Days of Our Lives is the rotating door of characters. So while Lucas might not be prominent at this moment in time, there's no doubt in my mind that he's not going to be brought back for another major storyline down the line at some point. And I personally am looking forward to it.
Me too.
Okay, good.
Yes.
That is all
We
the
need my
time
Lucas back.
that we have here live on YouTube, folks. Thank you for joining us as we sat down and talked with the world famous Bryan Datillo, Lucas Horton from Days of Our Lives. I'm going to go ahead and click off on the broadcast now, and we'll say our final goodbyes off the air. Bryan, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you guys. You were great. Great show. You guys do a great job.
Oh, thank you so
very
much.
fun.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
So
Joe.
fun talking to you.
Audience,
today.
join us next week as we get back into it with Days for Dummies at 9 and 10th Floor podcast about General Hospital at 11.